Now we already know what the locus of mod z minus z1 equals mod z minus z2 looks like, and it's a perpendicular bisector between the two complex numbers z1 and z2. The next question might be, well, what does the locus of mod z minus z1 equal to 2 times the modulus of z minus z2? So to investigate that, I'm going to open a normal 2D page. And if I right click and deselect the show key, just so we've got a bit more space, and I'm going to use equal aspect, and I'm just going to change the labels. So if I go to edit axes, labels, my x-axis is going to be my real axis, and the y-axis the imaginary axis. So if I put on 2 points to represent my Z1 and Z2, if I put labels on those, so if I right click, or I can use the objects menu to edit the label, and I'm going to call that one Z1. Now I can use my keyboard to get the subscript. Let's delete that. And make sure I select the show label. And then I'm going to label the other one Z2. So again, right click or objects menu and edit label. So this one is Z2. And if I use the subscript there and show the label. So I've got my Z1 and my Z2. I'll move my keyboard out of the way. Now we said that Z minus Z1 is going to be double Z minus Z2. So if I put in a circle around Z2, so if I right click, or I can use the objects menu, making sure it's selected, so object, circle. If I do this one of a radius A, and then from my Z1 is going to be double A. So if I right click or object, just making sure it's selected, so object, circle, radius, and then I'm going to do this one as 2A. So it'll be double the size of the first one. Now at the moment they don't intersect, so if I use my constant controller, let's move that up there a little bit, and if I make my circles a little bit bigger until I get an intersection point. So if I use my point mode and the intersection mode, if I wait for a little black circle, so those are the intersection points. So as I change my radius, my points will move. Now, as we see that going around, we can see that it isn't actually a straight line. It's some kind of curve. So if we put a trace onto these points, we'd be able to trace out the locus for those. So if I do right click, again, select the two, and I can go right click, or I can use the objects menu and trace the points. Now, default is size 7. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So I'll do that as 5. And it comes up again because I've got 2 points selected, so I'll change that to 5. And I'm going to plot it as individual points. Right, now if I change my value for A, I can see that my locus is being plotted. And I can see that it's making a circle. So if I just go back. Alright, so we've got the locus of Z minus Z1 is equal to 2Z minus Z2 is a circle. Now, what would happen if I change the 2 to 3? What would that give me? So if I go back to my page, I'll just delete. So if I select, and I'm going to delete the trace on that, And if I change that to 3a instead of 2a, so I can change my a, just make it a little bit smaller so we get some intersection points. There's my intersections. So again, if I trace those points, I'll make it a little bit smaller, make it 5, and then OK. And then again, changing that one to 5 and OK. And then I can change my value for A. And again, it looks as if we've got a circle. I can even change perhaps the step size, make my step size a little bit smaller so I can get my points a little bit closer together because I see more clearly what the locus is. And it looks like it's a circle again. Just moving that round. Now if I look at the page that I had a look at before, that I set up before, we can look at the algebra there. So if we look at particular Z1 and Z2, and then if we multiply that out using algebra, we get an 8x squared and an 8y squared, and we can see that that is going to be the equation of a circle.